There's a moment in soccer history that looks like tactical genius, but it wasn't. It was a coaching decision that shouldn't have worked and ended up humiliating one of the best teams in the world. And the reason it worked has very little to do with formations, patterns, or systems. It has everything to do with understanding one player and trusting chaos. Most coaches are taught to solve problems by adding structure, more rules, more positions, more detail. If something isn't working, we tighten the system. But in 2009, one coach did the opposite. He removed something instead. He erased a position. At the time, Pep Guardiola was still seen as an experiment. He had just taken over Barcelona's first team. He was young, he was intense, and many people believed he was in over his head. Barcelona had talent, but talent wasn't the problem. The problem was control. Opponents knew how to defend them. They packed the middle, they held their line, they waited. And in the middle of all this was Lionel Messi. Already brilliant, already dangerous, but still constrained by expectation. Messi was playing as a forward, a traditional role, stay high, occupy center backs, make runs behind. And Guardiola watched this and thought something most coaches would never admit. This role is getting in the way. Messi didn't want to wrestle defenders. He didn't want to play with his back to goal. He wanted to face the game. He wanted space not behind the defense, but between lines. So Guardiola made a decision that didn't show up on tactics boards. He didn't move Messi to another position. He removed the position entirely. Messi would start centrally, but he wouldn't stay there. He would drop, drift, disappear. No reference point. For defenders, this is terrifying. Center backs are trained their entire lives to and no one claimed him. And half a second is all Messi ever needed. That night, Barcelona didn't just win. They dismantled Real Madrid. Not with speed, not with physicality, but with confusion. By halftime, Madrid's shape was broken. Their defenders were arguing. Their midfielders were chasing shadows. Barcelona scored repeatedly from the same problem. Messi appearing where no one expected him to be. By the end of the match, the question wasn't whether the idea worked. It was how anyone could defend it at all. And this is the moment most people get wrong. They call this tactical genius. But it wasn't innovation. It was honesty. Honesty about the player in front of him, and honesty about the limits of control. Guardiola didn't try to look smart. He tried to do right by the player. Most coaches don't avoid risk because they lack ideas. They avoid risk because failure is public. Failure sticks. And if you're coaching kids or a grassroots team, that fear feels even heavier. Because when something goes wrong, it's not just tactics being questioned. It's you, your decisions, your credibility, your right to be there. Guardiola understood that, and he did it anyway. Now, quick pause here. If you're enjoying this kind of coaching story, not drills, not formations, but how great coaches actually think, this is exactly what this channel is about. No hype, no shortcuts, just ideas worth sitting with. All right, back to the story. Guardiola didn't ask Messi to adapt to the system. He adapted the environment to the player. That's the part that should make every coach uneasy, because it asks a hard question. What if the thing you're insisting on is the thing holding your best player back? At the grassroots level, this shows up everywhere. The winger told to stay wide even though they see central space. The defender who understands the game but is trapped at the back. The striker punished for dropping into midfield. We call it discipline. But sometimes it's just fear. Fear of losing shape, fear of losing control, fear of being blamed. Guardiola wasn't fearless. He was intentional. He understood that control doesn't come from rules. It comes from clarity. Messi knew he was trusted. The rest of the team knew how to react. And the opposition had no reference point. That's not tactics, that's environment design. And here's what matters most. Guardiola didn't spend weeks explaining movements. He didn't overload Messi with instructions. He didn't micromanage. He created a condition and let intelligence emerge. That's real coaching. And it's rare because it requires restraint. It requires letting go of the idea that you're the source of solutions. Guardiola did something far quieter and far harder. He resisted the urge to interfere. He trusted intelligence he didn't fully control. And in a profession that rewards noise, he chose restraint. This is why copying tactics never works. You can copy shapes, you can copy drills, but you can't copy understanding. At the youth level, the lesson isn't play a false nine. The lesson is this: stop forcing players to solve problems they didn't create. If a player keeps drifting, ask why. If a position feels rigid, question it. If a system only works when you constantly talk, it isn't working. And the good news is, you don't need to be Guardiola to coach this way. You don't need elite players, you don't need perfect sessions. You just need the courage to stop forcing answers and let the game reveal them. The greatest coaching decisions often look invisible. They don't add complexity, they remove friction. It points to something bigger, that the best coaches aren't remembered for what they added, but for what they had the courage to remove. For the moments they trusted players, trusted the game, and trusted themselves. Sometimes the most powerful thing a coach can do is give players the freedom to play and trust that the game will do the rest.